Hey guys, Mike here. I want to do a video today about toy cars, little die-cast cars you see all the time at auctions, and show you a few different kinds, the kinds that I see most often at auctions. I'm no expert, but I know a good bit about them, and figured I'd give you a little rundown of the ones I see most often, which ones to keep an eye out for and which ones not to. The first we're going to look at are Tootsie toys, and there's really three different kinds that I see pretty often. The first and most common you're going to see are these little tiny ones. They're about 1.5 inches long or so. These are in pretty rough shape. I've got a bunch of these, but hopefully it's getting that pretty good. This one's looks like some kind of Jeep maybe. Is it even saying here? No, but it's irrelevant, and they're pretty much worthless. I wouldn't touch those unless you can get a whole bunch of them for dirt cheap and sell them as a lot. You know, there might be a couple here and there that are worth money, but basically these little ones are pretty well worthless. You know, there's some exceptions. For example, like this little guy here, a VW Bug, you may be able to get some money out of something like this if it were in better condition than this one, just because there's some, you know, cross collectors there. There's a lot of people out there who just love VW Bugs, so you may be able to sell this for some money, even though, you know, the Tootsie toy collectors probably aren't going to be too interested. The second kind you'll see are earlier ones. I'd say they're probably 20s or 30s is when you'll see these, and these are, you'll notice the white rubber-like tires. Well, not rubber-like, I'm pretty sure they are rubber, white rubber tires, and usually you'll see them cracked. One thing to keep in mind with these old ones, and I know this one's complete junk. Actually, it sold on eBay a couple weeks ago. I forget what I got for it, but I was shocked. I think it was like, I don't know, 15, 20 some dollars, but the guy hasn't paid, so go figure. But one thing you'll notice about these is if they're original, have the original tires on them, they're almost always going to be a little dry rot cracks in them. If you find one of these with dead mint tires, especially if they're really white, the chances are they're reproduction tires on them, which are going to lower the value on them. So keep that in mind. These are very collectible, though, if you can find them in good condition. And then the other type of Tootsie toy I see pretty often is the pure die cast ones, hollow die cast, as you can see, with the black rubber tires. And something like this, well, I don't know, probably 20 bucks or so, give or take. This one's in pretty darn nice shape, but as you can see, most of these, I hope this comes out, you can see it's got a lot of wear on the corners there, and that's pretty typical. And one thing also to keep an eye out for cars, and you know, it's just a discipline I guess you have to get into, is take a really good look at the paint on them. Often you can look underneath, and as you can see, these were sprayed, and so when you flip them over, I don't know if you can see that, you can see some, I don't know if you can see that or not on here. On the insides there's overspray, and you can get an idea from the insides what the original paint was and make sure it's original paint, because I see a ton of these that people restore, and obviously they're not going to be worth the same money. So make sure they're in good shape, make sure they have their original paint on there, and you should do alright with those. So those are the Tootsie toys. What else do I see a lot of? This Matchbox cars. There's two main types you'll see, and that is the the original Lesnies, and then super fast, and then I guess the newer ones. The newer ones I don't even bother with, but the older ones, 70s, look something like this in their original blister. This blister is a little bit torn up, and these can be pretty collectible, but typically I see these getting money when they're actually on the original card. When they're loose, for example, like this guy here, this is a super fast. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on there. Trying to angle it. Can you see that? Yeah, you should be able to see it up there. It says super fast. When was this made? Probably 70s, give or take. 1979 is what it says. And the dates I've found to be very reliable. I'll get into Hot Wheels. That's a whole other story when it comes to the dates. But as you can see, this one is in basically dead mint condition, and I wouldn't be able to really get much on eBay for this. Maybe $5 if you're lucky. Another example, this one's pretty cool. This was my favorite car for some reason when I was a kid. I remember this one. Citroen, I think it's how it's pronounced. But again, this one's I don't know if you can see that, super fast on there. And you know, these are, I shouldn't say you need the card on these. It really depends. You know, if you have the card, it's going to help out a lot. But you know, some of these are real common. You're not going to make any money, and some of them, you know, you might get 5, 10, 15 bucks for. And I'm not even getting into the variations. You can, you know, get into different variations of, you know, this one's got a blue tinted windshield, the other one's got a clear windshield. Maybe that blue one's really rare, and so a car like this, I'm making this up, but you know, if the blue tinted windshield's worth $100, I don't know. But you know, if you really want to get into it, you could try to get to know all those little differences, variances. Here's a couple more examples of the super fast. Are these the same car? I guess they pretty much are. Here's a couple of them. And I actually collect 280Zs. I hardly ever sell. No, wait a minute. Were they the same? No, they were totally different cars. That one's a Citroen, I think you pronounce it. I have no clue. And this one's a Fairlady Z. And this one's probably worth 20 or 30 bucks because it's in dead mint condition, and it even comes with the motorcycles on the trailer. But anything I find that's related to a 280Z, I keep those. I don't even sell them just because that was the first car I had, and I'm kind of into them. Let's see. Well, I guess we could do let's do Hot Wheels next. Oh, actually, sorry. Yeah, those are the super fast Lesney cars, and here's one that's, I guess we just call a standard older Lesney. I wish this camera would focus better. I'm not sure what's going on with it. Maybe you can see the base. I'm not sure how well that's working out. But this one's in pretty rough shape. I think I've had this up on eBay for, you know, like a year. It hasn't sold. So that's one thing with these old Lesneys. They really have to be in nice condition, and unfortunately this one isn't, or rare, you know, some kind of rarity, of course. And also you get into different types of wheels. One thing to look for is you'll notice the super fast, you see those, has more modern, you know, kind of Hot Wheels looking wheels there, and the older ones have these kind of skinny little hard plastic things. Well, I guess they're all hard plastic, but you can see the difference in the wheels. What they did actually on some of the earlier ones of the super fast, you'll find the super fast car with the older Lesney wheels on it, and those are worth more money, so keep an eye out for that. Let's see. Alright, Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels can be a real pain in the butt. Now everybody's heard about the red lines, so I'll show you a couple red lines, and these are the ones that everybody's after. Here's one here. This is in really nice shape. This one here is probably worth maybe 50, 60 bucks. 40, 60, something like that. But it's in pretty nice shape. I don't even know what this is. It's the heavyweights, whatever that is. But as you can see, they're called red lines because, I don't know if you can see that, they actually have red lines on the wheels, on the tires themselves. And here's another one. This is a real well-known old red line, the Snake Dragster. I don't know if you can see the lines on that or not, but this is a really nice car. This is one I've got sort of in my personal collection. All the tampos, I think they call them decals, are in really good shape. Everything about this car is really nice. And then you have the older ones that are Blackwall, I guess you call them, tires. This one's from 1976, and it's a twin mill. This is a Hot Wheel you'll see all over the place. They made about 1 million different versions of this, and as you can see, it's got the Blackwall tires. And actually, some of the black tires are worth more than the red tires. When they were transitioning from the red lines to the black tires, there were some model cars that it's more rare to find them with the black tires than it is with the red lines, so you can actually get more money for the black walls on some cars. Now, the big thing about Hot Wheels, and I see it all the time, if you go into eBay, for example, for example, this car, if you went onto eBay and typed in, I forget what the date it says on here, 1968. If you typed in 1968 twin mill on eBay, you're going to find this car all over the place. It wasn't made in 1968. This car was made in 1976. So basically, when it comes to Hot Wheels, remember, take the date that you see. Well, you'll never be able to make it out because I could barely make it out. But take the date you see on the bottom of these things with a grain of salt. They're basically meaningless. What happened, I assume, is that, you know, they first started making this car in 1968, and they've made it forever. but they never changed the castings for the base. They kept using the same casting. So even though this car was made in 1976, it's got 1968 date on it, and you see them up all day long on eBay, people thinking that these are actually 1968, and they're not. And that'll get you in trouble, because you can see some pretty modern cars. I'll give you an example. This guy here is a pretty cool car, funny car, Hot Wheels funny car, and the date on it is 1977. So if you're at a yard sale or whatever and you see a few cars like this, it looks like it's in great shape, flip it over, 1977, you're thinking, great, vintage Hot Wheels, I want to make some money off this guy. This was made in 1995. So again, take dates on the bottom of Hot Wheels with a complete grain of salt. They'll throw you for a loop if you don't know what you're doing. Let's see what else. So that's it for Hot Wheels. Couple other cars you'll see. Oh, these are cool cars. I really like these, and I see these fairly often. They look a whole lot like Hot Wheels, and they even made some with red lines. It's an old Johnny Lightning car, and it looks, in a lot of these, I don't know if George Barris was involved with this or not, but a lot of these old Johnny Lightnings have that crazy Barris looking, you know, Hot Wheels look to them, so it's really easy to confuse these with Hot Wheels. What do they call these? I thought there were some specific toppers is what they are, Johnny Lightning toppers. And this one's a moving van. You'll see these pretty often, and these go for good money. I like these, if you can find them. What else here? Okay, yeah, I see a lot of these little marks. They're actually marked marks, American-made company, but unfortunately I never get any. Actually, I think they're an American company, but it's made in Hong Kong. I'm not real sure. I'm not an expert on these by any stretch. But I see marks pretty often. I'll buy them if they're in dead mint condition. Obviously this one wasn't. I got it a lot. Because if they're not in perfect shape, I have a hard time selling these guys. And it's kind of disappointing because they're really neat old cars, but there just doesn't seem to be much of a market for those. Okay, this one's actually kind of a sleeper. It's in really rough shape. Kidco, 1980. And when I say sleeper, I don't mean you can make a ton of money off them, but just that it's a kind of collectible brand, and you can basically get these for nothing at auctions. I've never found anybody interested in the Kidco cars or the shoot, what's the other one? Pocket Racers, I think they're called. Tomiko, I think is what it is. Tommy cars. You go to auctions and nobody seems interested in them at all, but they're collectible, so I always buy them whenever I can. What else here? Oh, this one, I sell these, if they're in good shape, these sell all the time. Made by Aurora, and they're called cigar box cars. And I see these pretty regularly. And unfortunately, a lot of people know what these are all about, so I don't often get very good deals on them. But these things, if they're in good shape, they're going to sell 10, 15, 20 bucks on eBay all day long. They're really cool old cars. Alrighty. And I guess I'll show you these. I don't even know why I'm bothering, because I just happened to actually got these from my grandfather, and I haven't seen any of these at auctions. This one's made by Norev. I think it's French. Yeah, it's made in France. These are kind of, I guess these would be O-gauge model car scenery. Kind of, you'll see these here and there, and you can make a little money on these. This is made by Lionel. Again, it's model train stuff. O-gauge, I'm assuming, but I could be off on that because I'm certainly not a model train guy. Alright, that's about it. Just want to show you a quick video on some of the cars you're going to run into at auctions. And if you take anything away from this video, that is, stay away from you know, counting on the dates that you see on Hot Wheels. Again, this one's marked 1977. It's made in 1995. This one here is marked 1969. It's made in 1976. So you just can't believe the dates on a Hot Wheel. You just have to get to know them. And actually, to that end, I'd figure I'd show you a couple books. If I can do this without dropping stuff. And when I show you these books, these are definitely not for, I don't use these really for price guides. Prices fluctuate all over the place. These price guides get outdated pretty fast, but they're still great resources to find out what you have and how to research them. This is a Hot Wheels book here by Michael Thomas Strauss. Here's a great Matchbox. book. And I've worn these guys out, man. I've been looking at and selling Hot Wheels, and I had an antique booth for maybe 2 years, I think. First year we made a killing. Second year we got our second and third year we had for 3 years, I think, got our butts handed to us. So I think I just didn't know how to run an antique booth, so we got out of that business. I may get into it another time, you know, and try to really figure out how to do it right. I wasn't switching inventory like I should, and the economy crashed in our second year, and that really hit us. And here's another book. I've worn this thing out. I love this book, Tootsie Toy. And this has, I mean, it's got tons of them in here, and you can really get an idea of what you have by this, especially these guys, because these never have any good information on them. It just says Tootsie Toy, made in the United States of America, and that's it. But you get into this book and you'll find out exactly what car this is and what year it was made. So it's a very great book. I love this thing. Alright, well, that's it. Just want to do a little video on some toy cars you might find here and there. Hopefully this has been helpful. Take care. Please rate, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Take care.